Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
What is it that keeps bringing you back to musicals?
I loved them from when I was a kid. The first time I got up on stage, I did Camelot. I think I was 6 at the time. There's just something magical about it. I did them all through high school. When I left high school, I was doing amateur musicals and plays. I love being on a stage. I probably at times feel more at home on a stage than I do in life. This felt like being on Broadway even though we were filming. We had Broadway performers, we rehearsed for 10 weeks, we workshopped it for 3 or 4 years beforehand. All the stories, all the people, and the creation of this felt like we were creating a Broadway show.
How was it for you? I mean, you worked for a while to get this project here and to be filming back in New York City.
Yeah, it was
What was
heaven.
it like for you?
Anytime you film in New York City, to me, I'm an Australian. It is so I grew up knowing New York from movies. It is the most romantic thing you can imagine. But to do a musical, to me, Broadway is the real home of musical theatre. And so to be shooting it here with the most incredible performers, there's something just magical about it.
Tell me, do you want to go where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night?
What, if any, differences are there for writing music from the stage to the big screen?
Well, for us, you know, it's actually, the process is really kind of similar. It's the two of us in a room, banging our heads against a piano, just trying to figure out what a character's going to sing and how they're going to sing it. And then it's really working with the directors, you know, I guess one of the things that we've talked about is that in film you can cover time in a different way than you can on stage.
Right, time passage and distance and sort of all that kind of stuff.
And
And
this
a song could be like a voiceover as you're watching another storyline happen at the same time. So that's like a cool thing. And I think the other thing that we think about sometimes is tone. Like, I think when we're in a dark theater with an audience collectively sort of suspending our disbelief, someone starts to sing and you're like, duh, we're here for a musical, they're singing. When you're on a film, it's sort of like, it's a little
someone's
bit...
face is
you're
like 40
huge,
feet
and
tall.
they start opening their mouth and saying, you're like, do I buy that? I don't know if I do. So, you know, on something like La La Land, the director Damien Chazelle, like so beautifully sort of wove the scenes and the songs together that you believed those characters coming into song and starting to sing. And something like Greatest Showman, the sort of, I think the trigger is that it's just a larger than life story and it's big imagination and the circus and colorful fantasy in a way. So that sort of gives the permission to sing.
What drew you to this project?
This is a film and a story that is a celebration of optimism and wonder and magic and hope. And I think, you know, we were developing this at the same time as Dear Evan Hansen, and it was a really sort of different thing to be working on that was more in a pop vernacular and something that really was about just unadulterated joy.
And also Hugh Jackman. That's another thing that would draw one to a project.
Yes, of course.
I'm not scared. Who's that?
And what is your act?
I don't have an act.
Everyone's got an act.
Your characters have such a beautiful and important relationship in this movie. How did you guys relate to this?
Honestly, it was the relevance of it, you know? In a weird way, there's so many, in a kind of sad way, there's so many themes in this movie that feel so current. And this being one of them, I think their love story, the fact that people are still trying to tell people who they can love is crazy, you know? So it's just that idea that, you know, we should always lead with our heart. We should always, at the end of the day, somehow love will conquer all.
And it was, I mean, who doesn't want to play a star-crossed lover in a musical? It's kind of the best feeling ever.
What is the message that you take away from the film?
She crushes the message answer. You take it. You go. You're so good. Because I agree with, like, she says everything I said, but so much better. So.
No, I think the thing about these two characters, right, is they come from two completely different backgrounds, you know? My character is living the struggles of this every day because she has to walk around with it. She can't hide what she looks like. And same when it comes to him, is he is living a different privileged lifestyle, and so when they come together, it's that constant battle of mind and heart, you know what I mean? Both of their mind, her mind is telling her absolutely not, this is dangerous, you can't do this. And because of his, I guess, and this is just my take on it, but his naivete to those struggles, he's able to have that hope that she doesn't have yet. And so when we have this number, the whole thing is about him trying to convince her to feel the same hope that he feels. And for a moment when they escape off into the air, they do get lost in that. And I think that that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, they do have to come back to the ground and deal with the real world. Thankfully, in this movie, you know, this has a happy ending, but it's not always the case, you know, and because of this being a musical and this magical, beautiful thing, we're able to create this beautiful story that we want it to be, but it's not always that, you know, and
absolutely.
People deal with that every day.
This is me.
Congratulations. This is huge for both of you. This is your directorial debut, your first major role, and tell me about this experience for you.
For me, it was incredible. I mean, it was my first film. The cast that came together was just remarkable. Like, it was a dream come true, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. Going to work every day and having that many people who are so talented, just so supportive of each other and so determined to make something really special, that is why the film is what it is. You know, it really is a result of a passion piece by the best of the best. And this is actually something that's very true. When you set that environment, if it's stressful and people are yelling and it's all, you know, that it doesn't matter how much people are smiling, you can see in their eyes that it's not truthful. And when you look in Keala's eyes during This Is Me, it is so truthful, and that is the power of that number. That is why that number brings literally the cinema to a standstill.
This guy's the reason why I'm here, and Hugh Jackman. So when I was doing Les Mis, I was able to do the first presentations of the beginning of this 3 years ago. And so then I would go to work at night and then go back and do the presentations again and work on it, you know, with the likes of, you know, we had Sutton Foster, we had Josh Henry, we had Betsy Wolfe, I mean, it was incredible.
Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah, we had Cynthia Erivo, and just to try and see what we could do to create, you know, this piece. And it was a gift. It was a total gift. And it is currently the gift that keeps on giving, because, at least personally for me, in a personal way. And I never thought it would happen, but it has, and I'm blown away.
What drew you to this role? It's so juicy and so interesting.
Because it is juicy and interesting. Do you like that?
I do.
What drew me to this role is I've never done a musical before, and I think the idea of it was quite petrifying, and I always like throwing myself into new, challenging roles. And it's with Hugh Jackman, and, you know, Michael is a dude with a beanie. I mean, why wouldn't you do it?
How did doing a musical shape you? Did it change you? What did you take away from it?
It changed me to the point that of all films, if I would choose, I wouldn't specifically choose a musical to watch in an evening. I wasn't raised with sort of theatre world, stage and Broadway, so it's all quite new. I'm sort of a novice in the area. But I think it's taken me to a point where I realise the power of words and music and what it does with us, acting it, singing it, and watching it. And, you know, if you ignore the fact of going to see this film, which I hope people do and I hope they will love it, the feeling of being on set where you have acrobats stretching and you have someone shooting fire somewhere and Hugh Jackman is rolling a hat and trying to get on his head, and it's just movement and creativeness everywhere.
What's your favorite circus act?
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Oh my God, all of it. And the audience.
Fire breathing's pretty awesome. Fire breathing, because we had some people doing it like really close to us, and
Cool.
while we were shooting, I personally did.
I'm gonna say trapeze. I already know that. Full out. I love a trapeze act.
You know, I've tried in the past to juggle, and I find it insane. Like, I find it insanely complicated and hard. And to see these people do it, and while they're, like, you know, flipping through the air and juggling the same, I think it's crazy. So
The fire breathers too. That was actually watching that on set, and like them,
They
and like
swallow
they have to
stuff.
swallow it all, but they can't actually swallow it. They have to just like hold it in their mouths, right? But
Right,
then like
yeah.
they'd be like, "We're gonna wait for another take," and so then they'd have to like spit it out before they swallow. It's like,
I love the acrobatics. I think I just saw one recently, Cirque du Soleil, that involved like trampolines and a wall and it completely freaked me out.
We didn't really get it right, but I love the human cannonball.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know, watching the aerialists and
The trapeze.
Yeah, and not just the trapeze, but like, you know, the women that were, you know, in these hoops all day. They're just in these hoops doing like crazy things. And here I am learning a couple different poses, and I'm like, ah, you know what I mean, trying to look cute and sing.
I can't just run off and join the circus.
Why not? I mean, you clearly have a flair for show business.
For show business?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it.
Because I just invented it.